And welcome back into the Sports Source. This segment of our program brought to you by Madisonville Marine. Do you realize we're only 8 weeks from April? That means it's almost boating season. For 40 years, people have trusted Madisonville Marine to help them find the right boat or the rope bite. The right boat at the right price. No better place to buy a boat than Madisonville Marine. The man laughing to my right, Bob Hodge. Thanks for laughing at my fumbles. Bob Hodge, a freelance contributor to the Knoxville News Sentinel, of course. Josh Ward, congratulations. Last week we had you on to talk about the 5 biggest targets on Tennessee's board. You predicted where they would go. You nailed it, all of them. Even the 2 that didn't come to Tennessee, you nailed where they would go. Congratulations.
Thank you. Sometimes those darts, they end up landing on the bullseye no matter where you actually aim.
It was impressive. Last week we said that if Tennessee lands, as you predicted, Bird, Kongbo, and Warrior, you'd have to say, so that's a good close and have to be happy. As it all came together, you did get those 3. You also got Latrell Williams, who 2-star kid out of Miami that the Vol staff, they really believe they've got a steal here. You throw it all together, still look at it and say, good finish?
Oh, I think you look at it, and I think it was a great finish. And I think if you look at where Tennessee's ranked, and Josh, you can correct me, you follow the numbers a little bit better. If you spread out Tennessee's numbers through about 5 more guys, it's a top 10 team. I mean, a top 10 recruiting class. So I think Tennessee did is about as well as they can do. I saw really nothing to pick at Tennessee over this recruiting class.
They wound up the top 15 in most. They wound up the top 15 rankings of most of these services.
The average stars can, if you look at that instead of total points, the average stars can kind of bump you up a little bit as well.
I think the only people that have issues with it are looking at it saying, well, you finished 7th in the SEC, are you falling behind? And as long as you're getting 4 and 5 stars, I don't think you're necessarily falling behind, if that makes sense. I mean, because one, we don't know how many of these guys are going to work out, but also the last 2 years you've oversigned. Your number was 15 instead of 10 because, as you say, your numbers were small. You could only take 21.
Yeah, and I thought the close with Jonathan Kongbo was even more important because it's something we're going to talk about with the numbers, but defensive line is so important, right? And they have Alexis Johnson on campus as a junior college defensive tackle, but they didn't have any ends. And you're projecting for the future in the SEC, you've got to have rush ends. Getting Kongbo, not losing him, I thought was the perfect kind of close for what Tennessee needed in this class.
Yeah, and you were getting some of your key targets right there at the end. And the Kongbo thing kind of drew out. It was delayed, and you're thinking, is it Ole Miss? Where's he going? And I think that really added to it. That's why I said last week, I thought if you got him, Tennessee got him, that's what really helped elevate this class from maybe pretty good to about as good as you were going to do.
If you had to choose between the 2, Kongbo looks like he's most ready to play right now, but Derek Brown, who wound up going to Auburn, that's a guy you would have had at least for 3 years, whereas Kongbo, if he does what you think he's going to do in his first year, and that's a big if he does what you think he's going to do in his first year, he could be gone after a year. But the Kongbo situation was very interesting because his father loved Hugh Freeze and Ole Miss. Son liked Tennessee and wanted to come there all along. There was some tug of war going on that last day.
Yeah, and for Kongbo, he said that Ole Miss was actually 4th on his list by the time he signed. At some point, they might have been higher due to family preferences, but they ended up, Ole Miss did 4th, Tennessee winning out.
I think Daddy wanted him number 1.
Yeah.
All right. Got to give credit to a couple of guys. One, Alvin Kamara. I mean, all these players, Butch Jones talked about all the players helping out with recruiting this year, but Alvin Kamara did a tremendous job. Specifically, he was on the phone with Kongbo at the end and some of these other guys. You got to credit him, but then also a terrific hire that none of us saw coming. When Mark Elder left, I think most of us said, okay, they're going to get a quarterback coach. Instead, he goes and gets Larry Scott from Miami, and boy, he helped out on a number of these recruiting fronts down the stretch.
Yeah, Larry Scott played a big role in what Tennessee ended up doing with Latrell Williams on signing day, Tyler Bird the night before, and then signing. That's who was recruiting Tyler Bird to Miami, and then, of course, ends up getting him to Tennessee. And Kamara's a good one to bring up as well, John. I would put Cam Sutton on that list in this. You think about those guys coming back, and they kind of turn into recruits, right? You're recruiting them to come back. Well, the fact that they came back, Tyler Bird said that they talked about that and said, hey, we could have gone to the NFL. We passed on that to come back. Come join us. Bird said that made a difference for him as well.
Butch Jones, at a number of his post-signing day appearances, also made comments to the tune of some of the players came to him with some of these guys they were recruiting, and they said, he's not Tennessee material. He doesn't fit what we're looking for in terms of attitude and what he's going for. I thought that shows an incredible amount of buy-in into the program.
And I think it was a point that I was getting to earlier when you look at this recruiting class And something that Tennessee fans need to remember, at the end of Coach Fulmer's tenure, it was, well, they're not coaching these guys up. They're not coaching them up. They're getting good recruits, not coaching them up. These guys have shown in 3 years that they do coach them up. And as part of the reason, go to exactly what you just said. We're getting a certain kind of guy in here. We're not just scatter shooting, going out, getting any 4-star, any 3-star. We're getting the guys that not only fit what we want to do athletically, but they fit what we want to do mentally as well.
Which I think also shows where they have gone out the first 2 years and just canvassed the nation and netted anybody they could grab. You look this year, they're able to be a little bit more selective in what they get.
And they had to because of their numbers, too.
Yes, yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
that plays right back into it again.
Right down the street from us in Oak Ridge, T. Higgins decommitted. There's some folks freaking out over this. He's a junior. He'll be a senior next year. It's 300. He decommitted with 360-something days till the next signing day. To me, that's one where you pop a Xanax, relax. These kids only get one time to look around. I have no problem with this guy deciding he's going to look around. Now, everybody's worried because it was Clemson that turned him. You got a year to turn him back.
Jonathan Kongbo decommitted from Tennessee. He signed with Tennessee.
Yeah. Last one, we talked about the rankings, the recruiting rankings and everything. We're going to have some stuff, some numbers that you're going to be impressed by a little bit later in the show. But we talked about the recruiting rankings. Bob, we've talked about it before. Chuck, you know this. I've discussed this on the show many times. You can look at those rankings. It's a compass. It's not a GPS. In other words, GPS would tell you, yes, he is a 5-star, he will play like a 5-star. He is a 4-star, he will develop like a 4-star. When I say compass, I mean more of the more 4s and 5s you get, it's almost like lottery tickets. Yeah. The better the shot that you will find someone impressive, special, rather than looking at the list and saying, yes, 4, yes, 5. You have to take it as a whole, I think, and say you've got more chances to find a big name rather than actually counting on these guys who all deliver, because some guys don't.
Well, and if you get more 4s and 5s, I think it gives you more room to error with the other 4s and 3s. And I think, once again, going back to recruiting classes over the past decade, you had 4s and some 5s that came in and didn't do anything. The more of these guys you stockpile, the better off you are, because not everybody's going to be able to play at this level.
And the more, some of us that do follow the recruiting, you look back at the class 3 years ago, that's when you really learn, wow, that guy was a 5-star and he didn't even get on the field. And then you look at somebody else that does. So, yeah, I mean, you got to look pretty much 3 years down the road, and maybe now 2. With some of these guys before you really know.
What's interesting, you look at today's big game this afternoon, and if you go check all their recruiting rankings, you'd be surprised how many of these guys are 2s and 3s compared to being 4s and 5s.
Yeah,
that'll be playing.
That's true. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about the recruiting and roster stuff a little bit later. We got another segment with some numbers that are going to wow you. But we're going to talk about Rick Barnes. Should he turn into more of a joystick coach? And by the way, if you're wondering, some of your guides today said that our show cuts off at 11:30. That's incorrect. We're a 1-hour show just as we have been for the last 13 plus years, 600 plus shows. So if you have DVR'd us and you see our show cutting off here in about 9 minutes, you can go to sportsource.tv to see the rest of the show if your DVR cuts off. I'm going to be screaming at people later today. Come on back on the Sports Source as we talk Tennessee basketball, then recruiting, then roster, then big game, tons of stuff. Come on back.